Steelers trade talks are once again picking up as some wild, insane rumors have started to escalate surrounding TJ Watt following some new reports that have dropped regarding his future. I'd break down these new trade reports and discuss what they mean, but not only that, we have a ton of other draft information and updates ahead of what's going to be, of course, a crucial draft for the Steelers as they have 12 picks, but some new names have entered the fold as well. There's a ton of other updates, including some stuff on Aaron Rodgers, folks. You're going to want to stay tuned to the very end of the video. Before we get into it, a quick thank you for all you guys' support. It has been unbelievable, and of course, it's been a bit of a slow time for Steelers news. Still pumping out daily content for you all, and of course, the draft is just around the corner, right around the corner. But let's dive into some trade talks today, and folks, it is an interesting one. Now, there has been multiple articles about a TJ Watt trade. Now, of course, on the channel here, I've been talking a little bit about draft picks, and there has been some trade rumors and stuff that I've been talking about, but not TJ Watt, because I didn't really think it was super likely. But it's gotten to a point now where so many articles are dropping that I want to address it. And of course, we also have a report from Mark Gosse surrounding TJ Watt as well. But let's start with this. Steelers' realistic trade price for TJ Watt. It goes on to say that though a TJ Watt trade seems improbable at this point, it at least appears to be on the table as the Pittsburgh's post-Gillette's Gazette, Jerry Dulac insinuated that the Steelers can move an outside linebacker that's ahead of Nick Herbig, who's entering the last year of his rookie contract. And that is something that's very notable and something to definitely keep in mind here is that there's a lot of conflicting reports to a degree, but Jerry Dulac did come out and say that there's a world where they trade one of their outside linebackers. There's been rumblings about Nick Herbig's and potentially him being traded, but the other two options are, of course, Watt and Alex Highsmith. Now, trading Watt comes with more bells and whistles than Highsmith. The question is what the Steelers will need in return, and we have some new reports and rumors surrounding exactly what that return would be. But before we get into exactly what the return will be, I want to let you know, folks, that this video is brought to you by Prize Picks. And, of course, Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app and the best way to get in on the action. And we're going to dive into some crazy picks later in the video, but make sure to use code DIGEST to sign up today. It helps out the channel a ton, folks, and yeah, make sure to check it out and stay tuned to the very end of the video for the picks. And thank you once again to Prize Picks for sponsoring this video. Let's dive right into it. So you can see here, outside of Rodgers adding several accomplished veterans to DK Metcalf, they could trade Watt because his contract is set to expire this season. Of course, they have a brand new coaching staff, and at this point, the last season, I think, would have been the perfect opportunity to do so, but there's still time. Now, personally, I don't think they should trade TJ Watt, right? Like, they're clearly entering a point now of the, like, they're trying to win now. We saw multiple moves that they made. I mean, even signing, like, win now guys, like, in theory, win now at least, and Jamel Dean, and, of course, making the trade for Michael Pittman instead of drafting, and they still might draft a wide receiver, but, you know, instead of drafting a wide receiver rookie and then putting him as a WR2, they are clearly, and, of course, Aaron Rodgers, they're clearly favoring the win now mindset, assuming Aaron Rodgers signs, which makes things quite notable because what it would take to be persuaded to trade Watt, and this is where I want you guys to leave a comment down below. Watt's contract could scare some teams, but trading him with a post-June 1st deadline would save Pittsburgh $32 million each of the next 3 years per over the cap, so there is some incentive there for the Steelers. The 8-time Pro Bowler precedes him, and of course, he is a very, very good, I mean, obviously, right, a very good linebacker. Now, again, we could see here. Now, I said that, obviously, hold on, let me rephrase something. I said that his contract was obviously expiring after this year. It was set to expire. We all know he signed that 3-year, $123 million deal, so he has a couple years left in his contract after this, but prior to, of course, that big extension, he would have been set to expire. But I do think if they were going to trade him, it probably would have been before the big contract because now it makes it a little bit harder. But comment down below, what pick would you want in a hypothetical trade for this? I know a lot of people are talking about, potentially win now players. I don't think trading TJ Watt, I mean, unless it's to fill another hole, but you're opening another hole in theory that you do have Nick Herbig, you do have Alex Highsmith that you can potentially, continue to run going forward. Also, on the Herbig front, I don't think trading him is a good idea at all. I think he's actually going to be the future of this defensive line, and I think that when we look back at this, video in 3 or 4 years, Herbig's going to be the guy to keep. That being said, we also had Pat McAfee, Steelers correspondent Mark Gosse. He said that there's a 0% chance that TJ Watt gets traded. Gosse knows a lot. So there is some, I guess, not misinformation necessarily, but there is some conflicting reports here. You, of course, have Jerry Dulac saying that a trade is very likely, or at least a trade for one of their outside linebackers is likely, whereas Andrew Filipponi is quoting Mark Gosse on the Pat McAfee show, saying there's a 0% chance Watt gets traded. So I wanted to present you guys with all the information, of course. Like, if it's a first-round pick, do you consider it? What team would even be willing to give a first-round pick for somebody who's under the cap for under contract for the next 2 seasons at $32 million? It is a question that is probably going to have to be answered at some point soon if they do want to get rid of him. But again, we also know that Nick Farabaugh came out and said he believes that Herbig could be in line to get franchise tagged. And this is where a lot of the conversation and the discourse about potentially trading a linebacker because of the redundancies that might start to emerge. But Nick Farabaugh said it on air, but the team cannot afford to let Nick Herbig walk if they do not come to terms with an extension this offseason. It'd be bad business to let a 25-year-old ascending pass rusher walk. The Steelers have found a lot of good edges, but they're not easy to find. So comment down below what your thoughts are on this, what you would be willing to give Herbig. It'd be between 25 and 30 million, and I probably think it would be on the upper echelon of that, the upper tier of that. So it's notable there. So comment down below what your thoughts are on that, folks. But let's dive into some more draft news, because we are now just a couple weeks away from, of course, the draft. And you can see here, they hosted a couple days ago more pre-draft visitors. So an offensive tackle in Travis Burke, LSU linebacker Harold Perkins, and Texas cornerback Malik Muhammad. So they are at this juncture obviously working out a ton of players. Some of these guys, not necessarily these three, but some of these, the guys that they've interviewed, that they've had formals with, top 30 meetings, are obviously going in the first round, or at least projected to go in the first round. Some of them, the Steelers have so many picks, you have to do due diligence all the way through. Now, something to note here is that kind of before we move on, these are obviously TJ Watt stats, a multi-time Pro Bowler. But I want to dive into a report that dropped from Tom Pelissero. And it wasn't just about Mekhi Lemon, obviously, but he said that he believes Mekhi Lemon could actually drop into the late, teens here. So between 15 and 19, which is quite notable. And Mekhi Lemon seemingly the WR3 and could go between 15 and 19, which would be interesting. Now, of course, the Steelers at just this juncture have the 21st pick. If you hypothetically assume that it's exactly, let's say it's the 19th pick at the very least, right? Or at the very worst. The Steelers could maybe move up a few picks. Like, keep in mind, the Steelers have enough draft capital to where they could pretty easily move up in the draft if they want to. I don't think that's the right decision because they don't have a glaring need, unless Mekhi Lemon is available at 15, right? And the Steelers are, on their board, have Mekhi Lemon at like the third best player or something crazy, and they really want Mekhi Lemon. You can maybe package some of your picks because you're not going to be able to sign all 12 players that you draft anyway. But this I thought was very notable because Mekhi Lemon does seem like, to a degree, kind of the dream fit here. And we look at what their wide receiving core is looking like. You have DK, you have Michael Pittman, replacing Roman Wilson, or at least moving Roman Wilson, recently drafted last year, down to the WR4 spot, and then bringing in a Mekhi Lemon for the WR3. That'd be one of the best wide receiving cores in football. And that paired with Mike McCarthy, potentially Aaron Rodgers, or whoever it is going forward, it is an exciting proposition. Now, there's also rumblings about them picking a quarterback. Also, it seems that Aaron Rodgers is going to be making his decision surrounding, joining the Steelers during draft week. So stay tuned for that. Makes sense, right? He picks. They, of course, then, let's say he signs with the Steelers, 1-year deal in draft week for $15-20 million. They go ahead, they trade up for Mekhi Lemon. That is a dream scenario. So comment down below what your thoughts are on all that, folks. Before we get into, before we finish the video, let's dive into my picks of the day. Kawhi Leonard, more than 0.5 dunks. I think he's going to get 1 dunk. So that one was pretty easy for me. Nikola Jokic, more than 7.5 assists. He's been passing the ball a ton lately. And of course, with the NBA season coming to a close, trying to get some accolades there. And then LeBron James, Luka Doncic out with Austin Reeves out. More than 24.5 points is my play there. So $50 can win you $237, over $237. Folks, make sure to check it out. Thank you to PrizePicks once again for sponsoring this video. There'll be a link in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you guys for watching. See you later. Cheers.